So in the previous movie, we created a profile family that we're going to apply it as an edge to our table using a sweep. We can do this in one of two ways. We can take an additive approach, or we can take a subtractive approach. With an additive approach, you can literally think about how this thing would actually be built. It would be as if somebody took a molding and was going to actually attach it around the edge of the table. If rather they were going to take the edge of the table and put it on a router and cut away the shape of the edge, then it would be more of a subtractive approach. So if we want to do it additively, we would use the sweep command. And if we want to do it subtractively, we would use the void sweep command. And I'm actually going to demonstrate both in this movie. So let's do the sweep first. And when I choose that, it's going to put me in a sketch mode. And I'm going to maximize up my 3D view here just so that I can get a good look at what we're doing. The first thing you need to do with the sweep is determine the path. So you can either sketch the path or you can pick the path. I'm going to choose the pick path option because it's more convenient and it will keep the path associated with the edge of the table, which is what we ultimately want here. So I'll choose pick path, and then you can just reach in and highlight the edges of the table. The first edge you pick, you want to use a little bit of strategy on because you'll notice that's where the plane of the profile is going to go. So this green dashed box represents where the profile goes. So it's more important if you're going to sketch it because that's the plane you'd need to look at in order to sketch this profile. In this case, because we're using a profile family, it's not as important, but you still probably want to plan it out. So I've picked all 4 edges, and that gives me the sweep path, and I'm going to finish that. Now, I'm still in the sweep command. I've just completed the path, and now I have to tell Revit what I want the profile to do. If I want to sketch the profile, then what I would want to do next is get a view that looks at this plane here at that point, and then I would want to choose this Edit Profile button here, and that would put me in sketch mode and give me all the normal tools, and I could draw the profile in place. But because we've created the profile and loaded it into this family in the previous movie, when I open up the list here, you will see Table Edge is already here on the list. If it's not, if you forgot to load it, you can come over here and click Load Profile, or right here and click Load Profile. Same thing. And that will take you to a dialog box which will allow you to browse out to your hard drive and find the profile family that you want. So because we already have it loaded, I'll just choose it off the list. And if I zoom in here, you can see that I intended this one as a subtractive edge. So it's oriented within the thickness of the table family. Well, for this first demonstration, I'm just going to kind of flip that because we're treating it as an additive edge, as a molding that we're tacking onto the tabletop. So let me go ahead and do that. Click Apply, click this Finish button right here, and then you'll see the sweep added around the edge of the table. Now, the only disadvantage to doing it this way is, as you can see, this has actually increased the size of the table. If I return to my floor plan view, you can see that that will definitely have an impact on the way we set up our parameters. Notice the length is referenced back to this edge inside, and now the edge is 1.5 inches larger all the way around. So I'm actually going to delete this profile because we're going to reapproach this in a subtractive kind of way. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my 3D view and essentially repeat the same process, except that this time I'm going to do it as a void sweep. So when I choose void sweep, I get the same options. Pick path. I'll do the same table edges. Finish that. Go to the Modify Sweep tab. Choose Table Edge as my profile. And you'll see that it's oriented correctly here. And when I finish, the way that a void works is when it's selected, it kind of looks solid. But if I deselect it, you'll see that it immediately applies to the solid geometry here. And so this edge has now been applied to the edge of the table and is cutting away from that material. And if I look at it from plan view, we haven't actually added to the overall length or width of the table. Profile families offer a convenient way to create both solid and void sweeps. Creating the profile externally in a separate family is easier than sketching it in place directly in the sweep. As we demonstrated here, the same profile can be reused in both solid and void forms, giving it an additional advantage.